morning, good afternoon, good evening, traders from across the globe. Thank you for tuning in. I've got some great stuff I'd like to share with you. I know that you've sat through a lot of presenters in the last few days. They're all fantastic. Everyone's showing you great stuff. I thought I would stop the offering of programs for a moment and instead just offer you some good information that I hope will help you make money for the rest of the week and into next week. So I'm going to go over a series of charts that I have found that I think will absolutely help the traders of the world watching this webinar moving forward. This is going to be two parts. The first part is literally going to be a webinar part 3. Explain quickly. OMNI started getting interested in a bunch of AI stocks as well as NVIDIA October of 2023. And I did a webinar to mention that to everyone. And then in the webinar, I gave you a host of stocks that would move up with the AI revolution with NVIDIA. And they're cheaper than NVIDIA, and you can put them in your portfolio and ride them into the sunset. And the reasoning behind that was this. First of all, welcome to the AI revolution was what I said in the beginning, the first webinar, which was done back here. And in that webinar, I said, listen, you don't understand what's going on. I'm going to explain that to you. This is called a revolution. Down on the trading floor on Wall Street, I lived through several of these revolutions. The computer revolution went on for 7 straight years. Does anybody remember that? Nothing goes straight up. But when computers came out and hit all the desks and we were able to get computers on our desktops, we had about 7 years of bull market before finally there were computers everywhere and the bull market cooled off. Then around 1994, the internet rally started. Bingo, it went all the way till 2001, another 7 years. Then we had the AI. It's only 2 years old, kids. It's the beginning of a revolution. It came out in November of 22. We're not even November of 24 yet. It's brand new. I promise you, you've got at least 4 more years of bull market. Nothing goes straight up, right? So there's going to be pullback times. But you've got at least 4 more solid years of this AI bringing markets higher. And that was the purpose of the video way back in October of 23. Then in Feb of 24, we revisited all the stocks that I offered in that webinar, and we removed 3 of those stocks from the portfolio. Now we are going to revisit all of those again because many Omniacs around the world called me, wrote to me, email, you name it, to tell me, Oscar, thank you for that webinar. I put those trades on, which makes me very responsible all of a sudden, right? So my job now is to make sure that so many people put them on, keep them in tune, and make sure that they're going to be okay. So that's what part 1 of the seminar we're going to do today will be for. It will be to show you how these stocks are doing. We'll look at the ones that we've removed from the portfolio. We'll look at the ones we left in the portfolio, where they are now compared to the last webinar date. And then the second part of this webinar will be for a bunch of futures, indices, stocks. Well, not stocks, but more futures and commodities traders. I've got a bunch of gifts for you guys. So after we do the stock side of this webinar, we're going to go to the commodity side of the webinar. I've got a list of great stuff you're going to see. You'll love this. So let's start with this. First of all, if you don't know me, I am Oscar Carboni. I am very, very, very easy to find. You can find me 24 hours a day in a live trading room. This would be it. It's always live to the point it's live right now while I'm doing this webinar for you guys. That's me waving in the camera. So there's cameras on, usually pointed right in front of me and one behind. Traders around the world line up and we go through trades and we go over charts and we basically just live our markets together every single day. We live our lives together. That's really easy to find. You would simply go to livewithoscar.com. If you do not have a membership, you would hit the register button. You will just fill out a couple of pieces of information. No credit cards will be required, no anything. If you like what you see in this webinar today, come join me, all right? No credit cards required. It's absolutely free. You'll fill this out. You'll hit send code. The only problem with send code is it will go to spam. I cannot stop that from happening. So the first time you get email, it's going to go to spam. If you just go to your spam box, undo the spam, click the send link. You will come right to livewithoscar.com. You can then log in and you can join me by clicking Oscar's chat room. I'm always there. And boom, you can log in and find me. So if you like what you see here, come hang out with me. It costs you nothing. We'll continue doing this until one of us doesn't want to get up in the morning. So make sure you join me at livewithoscar.com. Maybe if we get a chance before this webinar is over, I'll show you what we did in the trading room for live trades today. We killed it in the S&P. Omni just killed it in the S&P. We give out trading recommendations every day. I'll show you that, but more important, let me show you what's going on with markets. If you want to join me, great. If not, great. We're going to have a good time anyway. So forget about the spam and let's see what we're looking at. So you've got NVIDIA. NVIDIA is in a bull flag, a beautiful bull flag sitting right here. NVIDIA is pulling all the other AI stocks higher. If I update today's bar, if it shows up, you will see what NVIDIA did today. It did not show up yet. As soon as 5 p.m. hits, I can update and you can see it. But I believe NVIDIA today literally rallied up to about here, broke out of the flag and rallied up about this far today. That flag worked perfectly, right? Beautiful job, rallied out of the flag, what we were looking for. Very nice hold here. So Omni got interested in a bunch of AI stocks. We told everybody about those stocks in this webinar. We went to this webinar and made you remove 3 of them. Now we're doing this webinar to catch up. So that was NVIDIA. I hope that today's session helps you make money. I hope you see you see some things that you like, and I hope you take some notes. Let's get moving. So these are some of the stocks. Well, these are all of the stocks that I've been putting in my two webinars ago, 1 webinar ago, and this webinar. So this is part 3. Let's go take a look at them. So we looked at NVIDIA. One of the stocks I told you that you can get into is the AI play called AIQ.O on Metastock. It's the global AI technology ETF. Now, for whatever reason, the street absolutely loves the 120 bar algorithm on this stock. They love it. So let's take a look at this. It's all about market geometry. Wall Street watches market geometry like hawks. Everything that happens is based on previous market geometry. So Omni gets interested in this stock here and we tell you about it. We love this little gem, put it in your portfolio and hold on to it. Since then, we did another webinar to show you where it was from when we got interested to where it was next. And here we are now, still moving up. We're going to continue to hold this one in our AI portfolio. It's all about market geometry. Oscar, what does that mean? Well, you see this green line, it goes from this low to this low and then this low when the Omni gets interested. Watch what happens when I extend that line. It goes right there. How did Wall Street know to buy it there? Because they're using market geometry. Check out this example, example number 2. Look at this trend line. All it does is cover these 5 tops. I extend that trend line, and what does it do? The high here, all the lows here, the low here, the high here, and finally the breakout high taking place there. Kids, let me tell you something. It's all about market geometry. If you understand geometry, you got this stuff nailed down. So we are going to keep the AI play AIQ in our portfolio. Let's go look at the next stock, ETF stock, whatever it will be. BOTZ, BOTZ, the global AI ETF named BOTZ, another AI play. Omni gets interested here. We do a webinar to tell you about it. We did a secondary webinar to tell you whether or not you were going to keep this in your portfolio, but it's looking good, right? From the first to the second. Well, here we are now, my little webinar mark. Let me mark it. We're going to do the webinar today and look at how much better or how much higher we are, albeit it came down a bit, right? But nothing goes straight up. When I offered this group of stocks to you a couple of webinars ago, I told you just hold on. Unless I tell you to get out, you're just holding these. So at this webinar date, we were here. Now we are here. But look at this average. Have you ever seen such respect be paid to an average? Look at here, here, here. Look at the respect. I mean, wow, what a great average. And we're above it now. Tells us we propel higher. So we're going to keep bots in the portfolio. I hope that you're keeping track of these. Let's see what else we can play with. The next one in our grouping was Buzz. Buzz.K is the metastock symbol. Omni takes interest about here. We start letting you know in a webinar. Thank you, Metastock, for the webinar. Traders Corner, we did one for them as well, same stocks. Then we did another webinar here in February to tell you we still love AI, the Buzz K AI stock. Keep it in your portfolio. And here we are now. Moving up nicely, but once again, look at the respect that gets paid to these averages there. It's an amazing thing watching how Wall Street takes these AI stocks and just works around these algorithms and just stays with them, right? I mean, anytime you get near them on the bottom, they buy. If you get under them, they drop. It's just an amazing thing to watch. Look at how much higher we are now. And these are all very inexpensive. This whole group I offered to Metastock traders and my OmniX around the world. When I offered this to you back, last year, I mentioned that these are all extremely inexpensive. This is a $21 purchase. They're all cheap, but believe me, you keep them in your portfolio long enough, AI is going to take them higher. So this one we will continue to hold on to, doing a fantastic job hovering around the average. And this one stays. So next one was the IQM, the Franklin Intelligent Machines ETF. Now, it looks kind of herky-jerky movement, so there's probably not a lot of volume in there, but they're killing it around the 25-bar algorithm or moving average, whatever you want to call it. A moving average is an algorithm, kids. A simple one, but it is an algorithm, so we'll call it the algorithm. So another alternative to high-flying NVIDIA, and when I believe, if you recall, when I first started to show you this grouping, it was before the NVIDIA split. It was $1,000 stock. You know what I mean? Nobody could afford it back then. So that's why I brought you all these alternatives. Since then, NVIDIA split, but the alternatives are still doing well. So we liked it here and told you about it in our first webinar. Second webinar, we told you hold it, maintain, we'll keep it in the portfolio. And it's still doing quite well compared to where we got in. So it's moving higher. It's actually, what I don't like about this one, although we're going to keep it, is a blow off. Something happened here. News, whatever, something ugly happened right here. And from that day forward, the stock just got ugly, right? It went down, but look at the really nasty looking bars after that. Whatever internal happened, something happened in the company here, and it's affected this chart since. If we go too low, we will yank this out of our portfolio long before it gets lower than where we purchased. So we are going to continue to hold on to the Franklin Intelligent Machines ETF, which is the IQM. Once again, much cheaper, or certainly was much cheaper than NVIDIA when it was before the split. And the 25-bar algo seems to be Wall Street's darling. Traders, not only do I offer trading recommendations, which really rock, I also host once every few months a boot camp where I in-person train people. In fact, I am going to the UK to do one in just a few weeks. If you are watching this from the UK and you want to join me, you go to omnibootcamp.com and fill out an application, and I'll call you personally and let you know where I'm going to be in the UK and how you can attend my webinar, my seminar. That will be live seminar, 4-day-long boot camp, very intensive. I'll send you home with a brand new laptop, which I'll pre-program for you, and all my knowledge. So if you want to get involved in the one happening in October, November, go to omnibootcamp.com, tell me you're from the UK, and we'll get you involved. What's next on our list? The AI play Loop. This one is just killing it. I mean, it's got a lot of yo-yo style movement, but look at when it, after the drop, boom, the big ricochet back up. Now, we got interested in it back here in October, right? We told you to keep it in your portfolio, maintain it sometime in February of this year, and we still are maintaining it. Now, I'm not loving the yo-yo style, but when you're a long-term trader and you're holding long-term positions, unless you're really, really deep, emergency stop gets hit, you just hold, you don't do anything. You don't day trade long-term positions, right? We don't do anything with them. We go like this unless we hit the stop get hit. So we're holding this one. We still like it. It's all the way up here. There's nothing wrong with it. And once again, look at the action around the 125 bar algorithm. It's an insane thing for me to watch. I don't know if it's as exciting for you to see, but when I see something that simple to follow, I find it really exciting. It's Wall Street not being complicated. It's Wall Street just doing their job, but you should be able to spot it as easily as I can. What else is out there? So we're going to continue to hold on to the loop. The seventh stock in our portfolio, we ixnated a long time ago. Learns, LRNZ.K. It was the True Shares Technology ETF. We told you about it down here at this webinar. In this webinar, we told you to get rid of it. Get rid of it. We don't like it anymore. Too many red arrows lately. What that meant was I had all green arrows here, green arrow, green arrow, green arrow, green arrow. And all of a sudden we started getting those red arrows and we hopped out. So we told everybody in the last webinar, this one comes out of the portfolio. In all honesty, it's not performing as well as the others, although it is still performing. So that one has been removed and we haven't gone back into it. It's still out of the portfolio. Then we have number 8 in the list, the Wisdom Tree AI Fund, WTAI.K. This one we removed as well from the portfolio as soon as it dipped below the average and below the trend line, that ellipse. When it got below here, we told you about that at the webinar. Remove it from the portfolio. That one's gone as well. So we liked it down here. We told you here to get out. If it breaks that green line, it did, out of the portfolio. We discussed that in our last webinar. So the WTAI is no longer part of our AI portfolio. What else is out there? That's not where we're going yet. There's more. 9. UBOT.K was the Robo AI Automation ETF. That one, I just didn't like its action. We got in, or we told you guys about it down here. Here, we did a webinar and told you if it cannot stay above this support, remove it. We will remove UBOT as well as the other two if it fails to stay above the support. It's been removed. And we did discuss that in the last webinar. So join me at my free site. Enter that chat room at livewithoscar.com. You can literally be with me right after this webinar if you choose. So we liked it down here. At this webinar, we told you if it gets under that blue line, you're out. And then we removed it from the portfolio. So that one's gone. Who else is next? I believe there's another one. Yes, this one. The AITHNQ, think.K. And I'll tell you, these cats are thinking, because here we started liking this. It really, really has done well since. Yes, it's had its yo-yo movement, but I like how thick the bars are and how big the bars are, which tells me there's more volume in this than those little herky-jerky bars that you've seen in some of the other ETFs that we've been following. So this one remains in the portfolio. OmniCamp in the UK is coming soon. Kids, if you want to join me, don't forget, go to omnibootcamp.com. All right, let me explain. The reason why I'm mentioning these things to you and I'm telling you about my website, and I'll mention the anatomy of today's trade if I can, is because I keep getting yelled at by all my Omniacs and my staff because I don't sell anything during these webinars. I just give you great information and I go away. And they're like, Oscar, why don't you ask anyone to join us? So, all right, cats. Neil, Dano, everybody, I will do what I can, okay? I promise to be a salesman, but I'd like to just be an analyst. Anyway, if you want to join me at Omni Bootcamp, I will make you a fantastic analyst, but you got to go to Omni Bootcamp and fill that stuff out. It's an application. What else do we have for you? AI play number 11, Defiance Quantum. Now, this one is a monster. I just love this one. It was also part of the, portfolio that we put together in the first webinar back in 23. Then in 24, back in 23, And in 24, we told you we still love it. Don't stop holding it. And look at what it's done. I mean, now it's getting ready to break out of what looks like some sort of a weird descending, ascending angle. I don't know what it is, but it looks like something that wants to break when it gets to the apex. It's been killing off this average whenever it has the pretty deep dips, and it still looks pretty good to hold on to in our portfolio. So if you have been following these ETF stocks, you name them, since I started offering them 2 webinars ago, we're still in great shape, kids. You're doing really well with all of them, except for the 3 that we removed. And in all honesty, 2 out of those 3 are still performing a little better than what you'd expect. So far, so good. OMNI sniffing out all those ETFs, just fantastic. So that is what we did in our last 2 webinars. But what I noticed in the last 24 hours, I literally sat up last night until 6:30 this morning and found a whole bunch of charts that I wanted to bring to your attention for the commodity stock ETF. What else is in here? Mostly, if I would tell you the truth, it looks more like it's more commodities and indices than anything else. But there's something going on out there, and we all need to take a look at this. I don't want people to miss this like everyone missed cocoa. So I'm going to explain a few things to you here that you may or may not like to see, but we'll find out. This shows us something very interesting, and you've seen this in many of my videos and many of my webinars. This guy right here. This is the barometer of inflation, deflation in our economy, in the US economy. It's the measurement of commodity inflation or deflation. This chart looks more like deflation than inflation, right? So I've been showing this to you in so many of my videos I do at night to keep OMNIacs posted and apprised of what should happen the next day, and in these live webinars. So we had 140.55 was the price of the inflation index right after COVID, when supply chains went ballistic and we couldn't get anything. 140.55 was your price. You were way up here. You have dramatically dropped in all these inflationary markets like crazy, all the way down to 99.05. You went as low as 95.19. So you would think, well, that means there's really no markets going up. Everything is going down. And I will tell you that's not exactly the case. Let's go take a look. So what I have noticed is, let's see if I can find something. Let's start with just the S&P. Traders using technical analysis, which we're really good at here at the Omni Trading Academy. I put this chart in front of everyone's eyes at the beginning of September when we were having tailspin crash days like this one and this one. After these 2 days, if you recall, TV was talking about, oh no, the Fed missed the ball, forget about it, we're not gonna have a soft landing, it's gonna be a crash landing, it's a cookbook. They were going crazy on TV, right? And I came out and said, everyone, stop, what's wrong with you people? Don't you know how to read charts? And I put this very chart in front of everyone's eyes and I said, here's what's going to happen. Once the right shoulder gets resolved of the inverted head and shoulders, left shoulder, the inverted head, the right shoulder, inverted head and shoulders. Once the right shoulder gets resolved, it's going to break out through the exit door. And I drew this and I put an exit door right here. And I told everyone, I gave you 50 charts and a bunch of reasons why all those charts prove S&P goes back up. And once the right shoulder gets resolved, it goes right outside that exit door. This is what it looked like. And that is what happened, kids. I mean, is that not insane technical analysis? Can anyone do that? That was put before your eyes. It did exactly what I told everyone it would do. It's going to come down the whole week. Don't worry about that. Once the right shoulder resolves, it's going to go out that exit door. I drew that exit door when there were no bars past this. How about that, kids? That tells you that all the other work I did was absolutely right, because it allowed that piece of analysis to turn out to be true. With that in mind, we have a lot higher to go. And let's see if I can explain some of that to you. So you just seen the ES, and this tells us that it's got a lot further to go. Now, traders, I've got targets, year-end targets, 57.70, was my year-end target that I put on my whiteboard in the beginning of the year for the S&P. We were trading at the price of 4,600, and I told everyone S&P would go to 5770. And of course, I sounded crazy in the beginning of the year when we were a lot lower, but look at us now. And then I put a secondary target in of 6040. And it's on my whiteboard in every video I have done this entire year. Just look at my whiteboard to the right, you'll see these numbers. 6040 is going to get hit because we've already taken out the 5770. We're at 5790. Congratulations on the OMNI year-end call. We nailed it. Unbelievable, right? The beginning of the year at 4,600, I gave you this target. We nailed it. But you'll hit this one this year as well. So congratulations to OMNI for nailing that. Now let's go show you commodity and futures traders a bunch of really smart gifts that I'm going to give you. So markets are starting to explode. Obvious is like the OMNI, the S&P, and the NASDAQ, right? Here's another obvious one. Another obvious one is gold, right? Very obvious. Gold's exploding. We've been talking about gold for weeks. We showed you the bull flag before it was even finished developing. Called for the upward move. Made some good money in gold yesterday, trading the OMNI. Made money again today in the S&P, trading the OMNI, using the same methods. This is obvious that it's going up, right? But there is more, kids. I promise you, there's a lot more markets that are going up that people haven't paid attention to yet. So if we go to, now I've got a list. I'm going to read off this list so I make sure I give you every one of these that I looked at myself. Watch this. And if I remember right, we wanted to go to ECOZ24. Cocoa. Nobody even noticed cocoa when it started running. Let me take you back to show you what I'm talking about. Cocoa started to do this. And who pays attention to cocoa? Nobody, right? It was at 2,700. It started to do this with no one paying attention. It went to 10,000. That's 10,000 up there. 10,000, the price of cocoa. All right, no one was paying attention. So I went on a hunt. I said, I'm going to hunt down the other markets no one's paying attention to, because the inflation index would make one believe that there's no inflation taking place in commodity markets. All right, let's go see what markets we can actually follow that are starting to move higher. Cocoa did it, no one paid attention, almost everybody missed it. Who's going next? Look at this guy. No one is paying attention. This is how cocoa started. This is coffee. You hear anybody out there talking about coffee? Do you hear it on TV? Do you read it in the news? No one's saying a word, right? Look at how it's moving higher. Nobody's got their eye on this ball. That's not going to be the only one. Watch this one. Nope, that's not what we want. It's ESBH. Look at sugar. What the hell? There's nobody paying attention to these. I want you to write these down. Check them out for yourselves. I promise you, these things are going. They just started lowering rates, which makes the dollar go down, which creates commodity inflation. These things are starting to go, kids. Pay attention. All right, so sugar. Look at that run in sugar. It was 18. It's trading 23 now. I mean, really? All right, no one's paying attention to that. Let's go find another one. No one's paying attention to orange juice either. Look at this thing start to go. Why is orange juice $500? What is that about? It's supposed to be like $275. No one's paying attention. Traders around the world are starting to recognize, after what happened to cocoa, that if you quietly, without saying a word, just buy these commodity markets, by the time people realize it happened, you can start taking your profits. They're going up quietly, but these markets are quietly running. So now you got another one to look at, OJ. What else is out there? Markets that people aren't paying attention to. This one is, where am I? EO, this is a good one. Palladium. I know who is paying attention. The Russians sure are. They're not stupid. Palladium's moving higher. They're taking this thing up. Now, it's kind of controlled by Russia because most of the palladium, not all, but most of the palladium that we use in catalytic converters and trucks and cars and all that good stuff, mostly trucks, come from Russia's palladium. Look at this thing starting to go from 828 to 1128. I mean, without people paying attention, I don't hear about palladium. Do you? Nobody's talking about it. Who else is out there? No, this one we kind of know. Look at this wonderful market. T-bonds. T-bonds have been going up for a long time, all the way back here, all the way down here where I can't even show you. They've been going up for a long time now, right? T-bonds moving up, great for the economy, great for the stock market, because that means interest rates are moving down. So you've got T-bonds doing a great job, nice long-term moves. Nothing goes straight up. I tell you that all the time. You're always going to have things like this on the way up, but that's okay. That's just part of market stair stepping before it moves higher. It stair steps, moves higher, right? Boom. Let's make that a little prettier. So it stair stepped and then moved higher. And then once again, you'll get a stair step and then it'll move higher again. Well, so be it. We need bonds to keep going up, makes interest rates go down. Then there's the 10-year. 10-year notes look even better than bonds, to be honest with you. That's a prettier chart. That's a stronger chart. Looks like it wants to go even higher than bonds do. Those are your 10-year notes. Once again, if those are going up, interest rates are dropping. Makes real estate go higher, makes the stocks go higher, makes everything move higher. So we love what we're seeing there. Then there is New Zealand. Do I got any New Zealand friends out there? Check this one out. Look at the New Zealand. No one's paying attention to this one. Look at that New Zealand dollar. When I seen that, I went, oh my God, even that? Are you kidding me? No one's paying attention to that one either. They're just starting to run without anyone speaking of them. And when they don't become in vogue and they don't get talked about in the news and in the newspapers, they don't top out, because that's usually what happens by the time they hit the news and the newspapers. Just quietly running away. So if you're making a list of these, I hope I'm helping you. We've got more. Now we're going to hit some currencies. New Zealand dollar, look at that. Who comes after that? Look at that British pound. Oh my God. Look at that thing go. Once again, it's stair steps, right? It goes up, 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 does a stair step lower, up, 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 then does the stair step lower, right? Then up, up, up. That's just what markets do. Nothing goes straight up, but they're going up, kids. Please join my free trading room at Live with Oscar if you want to continue doing this for the rest of the week and for the rest of our lives. Make sure you go to Live with Oscar and I will get you involved. Look at that British pound. Now, here's the crime about this British pound. I've got to go do a live seminar. I'm going to be in Europe for like 10 days minimum. Me bringing my US dollar to that 134 pound, it's like I got the Mexican peso. What am I supposed to do? I'm going to get hit for like 63 cents on the dollar when I'm there. Everything I buy is going to be like going out to a really expensive dinner in Las Vegas if I buy a cheeseburger. It's what it is, kids. But British pound looks great. All right, who's next? Euro. Look at the euro. I hope some of you are taking notes. Look at the euro. That does not look like it wants to go down. Euro looks fantastic here, kids. You know, you could almost call this a monstrous bull flag, to be honest. You could almost call that the flag and that big drop the pole. That looks like you got a big flag building up there, kids. So euro wants to continue higher. Live seminars, we do those too. You're watching one, you know. So, you know, for you Europeans out there, good time to come to America and party, kids. What do we have next? Oh yeah, check this one out. This one's doing good too. Look at the Australian dollar. I mean, even the Australian dollar is jumping on board, for God's sakes. What does that mean? You get the Canadian dollar to go and you really got something going on. So even the Australian dollar, look at it, boom, just exploding. So we offer live real-time trading recommendations like the ones that we use today to make a bunch of money in the S&P. I hope that you'd be interested in what I can produce, because I'm really good at what I do, kids. Ask anyone that hangs around me. Come hang out with me and I'll prove that to you as well. And I'll give you my live trading recommendations and hopefully you'll make some money for yourselves. So we did the Australian, right? Who else do we have? Look at this guy. If you could get the Japanese yen, that's not spelled correctly. If you could get the Japanese yen to move higher, I mean, you got something going on, kids, right? What makes the yen go up? It's been going down since, I don't know, I'm 30 years old, right? It's been going down for about 30 years. You even have the yen starting to move higher. Yen gaining its legs. I don't even know what that means. Just forget about that. I mean, it's not even supposed to be going up. It's the yen. Even that is starting to make its way. Someone's writing to me in my trading room. Oh, you missed the move, Houdini? Don't worry about it. It was, well, hey, I'm just going to write to my traders in my trading room for a minute if you don't mind. Mr. Houdini, there'll be more trades tomorrow. Don't you worry about it. Tonight, forget about tomorrow. You'll catch something nice, brother. Just stay with me. All right, so what else do we have out there? What is making all of this happen? I mean, you're even getting it in a lot of commodities. Look at this one. See if I can remember the symbol to this one. I didn't write it down, but I remember thinking about it. Yeah, I think that's it. That was it. Check this out. Even the meat markets are starting to get into this now, right? From all the way down there, you had your first rally, came down, boom, boom, boom. Nice rally taking place. Lots of markets are starting to join this explosion towards the upside. So keep an eye on these gems, you futures traders. What do you think is making so much of this happen? The almighty US dollar is doing this, kids. It's been coming down for quite some time. And now it's falling out of a big bear flag, which I've shown you in at least the last 3 videos. So look at it starting to fall out of that flag. You better believe those other markets I showed you are going to go up. They will continue going up, especially if you see that dollar moving down as quickly as it's moving down. So that is what I wanted to show you today. That was basically everything I put together in the last 48 hours to present to you at this Metastock conference. I hope everything I showed you helped. Again, please come find me in my live trading room. We can hang out every day of our lives. It costs you nothing to be here. And the high level of analysis that you see in these videos, I promise you, believe it or not, what I am showing you, what you've just seen in this webinar is my 101 analysis. I am sleeping on a cot in my kindergarten class, drinking warm milk and cookies. I promise you, I have shown you my 101. I can show you much more in-depth analysis than that, but I don't want to confuse anybody. I want to give helpful tips, tricks, and techniques that you can use moving forward. If you really want to learn the ins and outs of the Omni, that would be at Omni Camp. That we don't give that away in live seminars, webinars, or any of that nature. So, well, we do in our seminars, but only if it's an Omni Camp seminar. So that is what I wanted to show you. Now, Neil made me promise that I would show you my ES trade for today. So Neil, for you, I will show everybody what we did in the ES today. And if I could just find my trading site, I will show you what we did. All right, so we were here. I sent out a flash update this morning. Don't know how much of this you'll be able to read, but I'll try to blow it up for you a little bit. Maybe you can read some of the words. I sent out flash updates this morning, and the first flash update simply stated, the Omni says to buy long E-mini S&P on a dip down to the 57.61, 57.57 area. Just hop in. Don't worry about the range. Just get in when you can. And here's where you place your protective sell stops. So OMNIACs around the world put orders in. Next thing that happens, they get number 2 flash update. Number 2 says, go to market on your ESZ24 buy orders. Your stops will remain the same. Last price of ES is 57.63. Boom, I send that out. Market drops immediately as I hit the send button, and we actually got filled. OMNIACs were filled a bit lower. We were filled at 56.59, really 56.59 and a half, to be honest, in the E-mini S&P. It's already back to 57.61. Keep your stops in place. Next flash update. Now we're in. Last price is 57.74. We got in at 57.59 and a half. The Omni target number one for today is 57.75. Please take profits on a portion of your positions at market. Now I want you to move your buy stops, trail your sell stops, trail your sell stops up to 57.54. Your next target's going to be 57.83. So we're trailing stops and we're taking profits on some of our positions. Next is fifth flash update. OmniAx, we just hit 57.83. The target is 57.83. Get out if you want to stay in. 57.90 is your next one. Let's see what happens, but move your stops to break even. And then we get another flash update. Bingo! 57.90 has been hit. Please take all profits at market, except for maybe one runner if you want to hold a one lot. Move your stops up on that runner to 57.83. And the last flash to come out was, okay, OmniAx were filled long down to 57.59 and a half. We took profits up to 57.90. We put a stop in on our runner at 57.83. Stop was hit, out of the trade. See you later. We'll do this again tomorrow. That was today's trade. Sent out those flash updates all day long and all night long so that you can get in and out of the trades with me. And we do that every day here at the Omni Trading Academy. If I could be of help to you, please let me know. Jeff, if there are any questions I can answer, please let me know. Otherwise, thank you.
There are tons of questions, Oscar.
All right, let's see what we got.
We'll start with a comment. Scott says, I followed the Omni for 15 years.
Wow.
And Penny says, what are your thoughts on Bitcoin? I know you're going to have some.
What are my thoughts on Bitcoin? Let's go to a Bitcoin chart. So Bitcoin, what I've been doing for my traders is every time we get to this spot, I do a video and tell traders that we just hit a hold spot. If it holds here, you go long Bitcoin until it gets here. And then it gets there and it stops magically. And it comes back here and it holds, and it goes there and it stops, and it came back here and it holds, and it came back here and it held, but now it held the average just like it did last time. Look at this. You held the average here. You held it again, but with the trend line. What do you expect? Absolutely, positively, somewhere up here. That puts us around, 70,000, 73,000, somewhere around there before we run into possibly trouble again at the top of that huge channel or big bull flip. So that's what I've been thinking for Bitcoin for the last 3 or 4 months. I still think the same. Traded inside of that, it's almost a giveaway.
All right. BB wants to know, US dollar is going down. Does that mean other currencies and commodities are going up?
He did watch the webinar, didn't he? Did you watch the webinar, sir?
He might have joined.
We just went over a list of all of those that are going up. Yes, the answer would be yes, sir.
And then he specifically asked about oil and silver.
Now we're getting into an interesting place. So let's go find something in oil. Let's see what we got here. In oil, we're starting to put in a little bit of a bottom here. Little bit of a V bottom is what I've been calling this. If you kind of just throw some trend lines around it, you kind of get a V there, right? So I'm not exaggerating. So it looks like a V bottom is in. It looks like resistance is about to be tested. And if that V bottom gets above that resistance, crude oil is going higher. Now, let's walk this chart for you for a moment. And it's the X. All right, so crude is priced in dollars. And the way the world works, kids, if that, and I've shown you this in many of these webinars, seminars, live videos, if this was a teeter-totter or a seesaw, if you will, and we were out in the park and we both decided to get on that seesaw, and your name was the dollar and my name was crude, you'd be a lot bigger than me right now because you're going down. You've got more weight than I do. And what happens on that seesaw when you go down? I go up because I'm priced in dollars. So the stuff priced in dollars, while dollar is starting to tailspin, has no choice but to go up. It is literally priced in dollars. It has to go up. So if you get past Sorry about that. Let's go back to where we were. If you get past this spot right here, Wall Street is going to pay attention. They will see the geometry get broken. They will come in like banshees. At the same time, if you fail there, they're going to do the same thing opposite. They will sell it if you fail there. So keep this in mind. I'll give you a price on it right now. If you can get around 73.30-ish, something is going to happen right there. Keep that number in mind for November crude oil. I hope that helps.
Slick Pete wants to know, do you have any thoughts on Dr. Copper?
Sure. Let's pull copper. It's not moving as well as the other metals, so it didn't make the webinar, but it's still pretty good. So let's move this out of the way. It's at the 200 bar. Oh, okay. Check this out. In a video not too long ago, I showed this. And in fact, I did it for my buddy Sun King, who actually works at my site. I said, Sun King, we have a bear flag and resistance. If you could get above the bear flag resistance and the 200 bar moving average, it'll go. We were here when I did the webinar. None of these bars existed yet. So it basically kind of looked like, let me see if I can delete these. It sort of looked like this. And I did a video. So you go back and look at my video on my YouTube channel, because I do them just about every night. And in that video, we were here. And I said, you know, Sun King, being that you're a good friend of mine, we love him to death. He helps me with my website every day. And we were right there. I said, you've got the top of a bear flag, the 200 bar moving average, and resistance all at the same spot in copper. If you could get above that, where the bear flag and the 200 bar moving average and the channel meet, you will move higher. If not, you can sell it right there. So it has made its decision, and it's starting to finally move. So I'm liking copper a lot more now that it got above this mess, proved that it's not a bear flag, right? It just looked like one. Instead, you got above that, and that makes it strong. So I like buying different copper.
Oh, sorry. Boris says, interesting. Is this good for intraday trading?
No, not really. I mean, yes, but intraday trading requires that you get in and out. Almost the moment you notice something, it's almost time to get out of it. So if you're going to do intraday trading, all right, so I'm looking at a bar chart, which is a daily bar chart. That's going to tell me the daily range that I'm looking for tomorrow. If you'd like to trade in and out using intraday charts, you would basically have to go to a 5-minute, and trade for 5 minutes at a time, go to a 10-minute, a 30-minute. And then this analysis does work on that if you're willing to get in and get out of the trades like a scalper. If you're going to do what we do, which we basically swing trade each day. Every day for us is one swing trade day, and we're out at the end of each day. Omni's always out at the end of the day, but we trade the swing inside the day, so we need the daily bar for that. If you were shorter term, if you were looking for quick points in and out, yes, you would go to a smaller time frame chart. Anything else I can help you with?
Sorry about that. Richard wants to know if you can look at NG natural gas.
Natural gas. And we're October, right? No, November. Here's what I have. Natural gas, I've only said one thing about natural gas for the past 3 years, the past 4 years. It's going to $1 and it's going to stay there forever. So I don't like natural gas at all. I think natural gas belongs down here at this price, right about here. There's so much of it. We get it as a gift for shaling. It comes out of Europe. Everybody gets free natural gas. Of course, you got to pay for it if you're not pulling it out of the ground. But if you're pulling oil out of the ground, you're getting that stuff for free, right? How much could it really be worth? So I don't like natural gas. I think it should be worth $1. But you've heard me say this for the past few years. Now it is getting there, right? It's starting to make its way. So I'm no big fan of natural gas. Sell the rallies. And you can even see the geometry telling you to probably sell the rallies when you get there anyway. So I'm no big fan of natural.
BBBB says, how often do you look at the dollar when you're trading?
So when I do analysis, I sort of do analysis on everything that you see on this board almost every day. I look at the grains, the meats, the metals. No, not really the meats as much anymore, but I'll look at the grain sector, the indices sectors. I'll look at the dollar. I'll look at all the currencies versus. Then I start looking at bonds. I look at the crude. I look at everything I can get my hands on. There's more, of course. If I make the board smaller, there's even more stuff I follow. But I actually do analysis on almost everything every night. So if I don't do analysis on the dollar, it would only be because I don't see anything major happening in grains or currencies or something else. If I see anything happening anywhere, you got to go look at the dollar and see what that's doing as well. So I basically try to analyze everything I can every day.
All right. So last question, and this one I think is most important. Is it livewithoscar.com or livewithoscar.com?
Well, you know what? You tell me. Let's do this. If I can find it. Is it live with Oscar, or if you're with somebody who's on camera 24 hours a day, do you actually live with them? It's live with Oscar, but it's live with Oscar.com. We literally live our lives together in this training room. If you know me, it's live with Oscar. If you don't know me, it's live with Oscar.
All right, very cool. Slick Pete says thank you. Go check him out, livewithoscar.com, or live with, whichever you want. It's spelled the same way either way. I'm going to talk a little bit about that training program we put together a little bit ago. But Oscar, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you for having me. Traders, I hope I've helped. If you like what you see, please join me in my live trading room. I'm going to go take a 5-minute break, and then I'll be right back here doing my thing. Actually, we have analysis to do tonight, so I'll be doing analysis for tonight's markets in just a few moments. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We love this. Love the back and forth that we get with the questions. And Jeff, I couldn't say more about Metastock. We just love you guys. Thank you so much.